So if you're new to photography and you're just starting your journey as a photographer, as a videographer, content creator, YouTuber, whatever it is that you're aspiring to, then this video is aimed at you. Now, if you are already an established photographer and you just want to check this video out, then please feel free to do so because, well, I appreciate all of the views and you're welcome here anytime. So a couple of things that I've always appreciated are encouragement and information. And as a little bit of encouragement to you, the viewer, if you are just getting into photography or videography, content creation, whatever it is that you get into, then my advice to you is just do it. Jump in feet first and see what happens. There are so many opportunities in this area of interest, photography and all the things surrounding it. That I don't think you can go wrong, and I'm sure you will get something out of it no matter what that is. So when it comes to information, that's where this video comes in. Today I'm going to be giving 5 tips for beginner photographers. Okay, so tip number 1 is invest in a camera system that works for you. So there are so many cameras on the market these days, from older DSLRs to the latest and greatest mirrorless systems and everything else that's out there. There are so many options, it is unbelievable. Now, if you have a niche in mind that you want to get into and you haven't bought a camera, then think about what that niche is, what that subject is going to be, the type of photography that you're going to be doing, and try and look at specifications of certain cameras and see what it is that you need. So like, for instance, if you were going to be a wildlife photographer, you would probably want a camera that has more frames per second, so you can shoot more images in a short space of time. You're capturing animals and birds and things like that in movement. If you are going to be an astrophotographer or a nighttime photographer, you may want a camera that handles low light better. So they're just a couple of things that you want to bear in mind, but there are lots of options and there are lots of things to consider when buying your first camera. Now, if you already have a camera and you haven't decided what niche or what type of photography it is that you're going to get into, then don't worry about it. Just make that camera work for you and then upgrade when the time is right. Okay, so tip number 2 is a kind of double-barrel tip. It is learn as much as you can about exposure and composition. So when we talk about exposure, we talk about balancing highlights and shadows and looking for the way that light hits subjects and just how to balance an image so that it looks perfectly exposed. The better you can expose an image in camera, the better that image is going to be when it comes out of the camera and goes into some editing software. And it means that you're going to spend less time editing it, just tweaking it so that it looks how you want it to look. So when we talk about composition, we're in essence talking about setting the scene. So learning how to place things within an image so that it looks fantastic. So where to put horizon lines, where to put vertical lines, where to place subjects, things like reflective elements, using symmetry and all sorts of things like that. And then learning the rule of thirds, which is probably one of the most important things you can learn about when you're a photographer developing your skills. Eventually the rule of thirds will become second nature when you're taking photos. You won't really think about it, you'll just kind of do it. So you'll have a horizon line, on the first third line of the image, and you'll have a subject on the first third line in from the right hand side of the frame, and it will all just make your image come together and pop and be so much better, and you'll appreciate learning it once you have and your skills have developed and your photographs are looking absolutely spot on. Okay, so tip number 3 is shoot raw files. Now there are some people that will say that shooting JPEG is just as good, but I definitely subscribe to the shooting raw. Raw files are significantly bigger than JPEGs, which means they hold so much more information, so much more data, so that when you eventually put those into a photo editing suite, you're going to be able to extract all of that extra information that a raw file holds to help you process and develop that image to look exactly how you want it to look. So when I'm photographing a scene or a subject, whatever it is I'm photographing, I have it in my head how I want that image to look. A raw file, as I say, it's a digital negative. There is so much more you can do with it. to get it to look exactly how you want it to look. And shooting JPEG for me just doesn't cut the mustard. Shoot raw all of the time. Okay, so tip number 4 is push yourself, but not too hard. So if you wanted to achieve something in life, I always think that pushing yourself is the best way. So work hard and do what it takes to learn the skills, learn the techniques, understand as much as you can about whatever it is that you're learning to help you get there faster and get the most out of it. And that's exactly what you should do with photography or content creation, whatever it is. Learn as much as you can, absorb as much information as possible, network, meet people, go on as many shoots as possible, depending on what kind of photography that it is that you're into. But just push, push, push. Work hard, and it will pay off in the end. But don't push too hard, because we all burn out at some point, and I've done it multiple times. I burnt out early this year, and I don't really think I've still picked up the pace from burning out. I went to Iceland in March, and I came back thinking, wow, I'm going to get all of these images out within like a month, and I'm going to put it all out there. And I still haven't put out even half of the images that I shot in Iceland. I kind of just come sort of May time, I kind of hit a brick wall, just felt a little bit deflated. And yeah, I haven't really done a great deal since then. But it happens, and it's happened more times in the past, and it will happen again. And that's because I'm always trying to outdo myself. I'm always trying to be a better photographer, be a better content creator. And I know, as I've said in previous videos, that I'm not very good at this whole YouTube thing, and I'm trying to put more content out. But this is me pushing myself to be better than I was previously. So push hard, just don't overdo it. Okay, so the last tip, tip number 5, is invest in some good quality editing software. Now, over the years, I've tried using different editing suites, but for the last few years, I've been using Adobe's Creative Cloud photography package, which includes Lightroom and Photoshop. Now, these programs, this software allows me to create the images that I want to create in the best possible way that I can. As I said previously, the images for me are all up here. You take a photograph, but then you develop and process that photograph into the final image that you want based on what you've got in your imagination. And that's how I work, that's how I develop and process my images. Lightroom and Photoshop allow me to do that. I don't really do any major manipulation, maybe clone out some distractions here and there, but nothing massive. Just allowing me to have the kind of tones that I want, and just make some minor adjustments to the scene as and when required. Now, full disclosure, I am an Adobe affiliate, and there is a link to the Adobe website in the description below. So if you feel like you want to get on the Adobe train and learn to process your images to become the best images that you can produce, then head over to adobe.com and download the Creative Cloud photography package. You won't regret it. Okay guys, thanks for watching my 5 tips for beginners video. I really appreciate it. That's it for today. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you think you got some value out of watching this video, please drop a comment, let me know. Any feedback is good feedback. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, follow along, trying to build that little community that I was speaking about in the previous video, and it'd just be great to hear from people. So for now, that's everything. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.